The morning sun stretched lazily across the brick facade of Westwood High as Marcus Johnson climbed the front steps. His sophomore year had been uneventful so far: decent grades, basketball practice 3 times a week, and the occasional weekend hangout with friends. Nothing extraordinary. Nothing that prepared him for what awaited around the corner of the East Wing. Marcus froze mid-step. His breathing quickened as his eyes traced the crude letters sprawled across the wall. "Go back where you came from" loomed in angry red paint, alongside hateful symbols and slurs targeting black students. His backpack slipped from his shoulder, hitting the ground with a dull thud. "Hey, you okay?" Zoe Parker approached, her voice trailing off as she spotted the vandalism. "Oh my God." Marcus pulled out his phone with trembling hands. "This wasn't here yesterday." He snapped several photos, his jaw clenched tight. "Someone did this last night." The bell rang, but neither of them moved. Something had changed at Westwood High, and Marcus knew nothing would be the same again. By third period, photos of the graffiti had spread through every social media channel at Westwood High. The hallways buzzed with tense whispers as students huddled in groups, their normal between-class chatter replaced by concerned faces and furtive glances. "They're saying Principal Donovan wants to just paint over it and move on," said Tarek, sliding into the seat next to Marcus in AP History. "Like it never happened." Marcus shook his head. "That's exactly the problem. Always covering things up." Across the classroom, Tyler Graham snickered with his friends. "Everyone's making such a big deal. Probably just a prank." Zoe spun around in her seat. "A prank? Would you think it was funny if it targeted you?" "Settle down, everyone," Mrs. Reynolds called out as she entered. "I know there's been an unfortunate incident, but we need to focus on our lesson." "Unfortunate incident," Marcus muttered under his breath. He noticed Amara Davis, usually quiet, give him a knowing look from 2 rows over. By lunch, clear divisions had formed in the cafeteria. The administration's silence was deafening, and rumors spread that more graffiti had been found in the boys' locker room. Security guards now patrolled the halls, their presence adding to the unease rather than alleviating it. "Something's got to give," Tarek said, pushing his tray away. "This place feels like it's about to explode." The emergency assembly called for 2 p.m. packed the auditorium with restless students. Principal Donovan, a tall man with perpetually pursed lips, tapped the microphone twice before addressing the crowd. "Students of Westwood, I've gathered you here to address this morning's vandalism. Such behavior has no place in our school." His voice remained flat, emotionless. "The custodial staff has already removed the graffiti, and we're reviewing security footage." Murmurs rippled through the audience. Marcus exchanged glances with Zoe and Tarek. "Furthermore," Donovan continued, "we ask that you delete any photos of the vandalism from your devices and refrain from discussing it on social media. This only gives the perpetrators the attention they seek." Vice Principal Reeves stepped forward. "We've always prided ourselves on Westwood's inclusive environment. This was clearly the work of outside troublemakers or a thoughtless prank." The dismissal bell rang before any students could ask questions. As they filed out, Assistant Coach Turner stopped Marcus. "Johnson, I know you're upset, but don't make this bigger than it needs to be. These things blow over." Marcus felt his face grow hot. "Blow over? For who?" In the parking lot, Amara caught up with him. "They're going to do nothing, aren't they?" "Looks that way," Marcus replied. "Unless we do something ourselves." By nightfall, Marcus's bedroom had transformed into an impromptu war room. Zoe sat cross-legged on the carpet while Tarek paced between the bed and desk. Amara, who had barely spoken 3 sentences to Marcus before today, perched on the windowsill, her notebook open. "The administration wants this to disappear," Marcus said, pinning photos of the graffiti to his corkboard. "But erasing hate doesn't make it go away. It just pushes it underground. My cousin at Jefferson High organized a sit-in last year when their school cut diversity programs," Zoe offered. Got media attention and everything. Tarek stopped pacing. That's what we need. Attention. Force them to address what's really happening. We should be strategic, Amara spoke up. Her voice was soft but precise. Make specific demands. Anti-racism training for teachers. Transparent investigation. Cultural awareness programs. Marcus nodded, grabbing a marker. Let's draft something concrete. For the next 2 hours, they crafted their plan. A silent protest in the main quad during lunch period. Black armbands. Signs with facts about racial incidents at Westwood that had been swept under the rug. A list of demands to present to the school board. We need more people, Tarek said, checking his phone. I can reach out to the basketball team. And I know people in debate club and band, Zoe added. Marcus created a private group chat, carefully worded to avoid tipping off administration. Friday. That gives us 3 days to organize. As his friends left, Amara paused at the door. You know there might be consequences, right? Marcus met her gaze. There already are consequences. Just not for everyone. Thursday morning, Marcus found a crumpled note shoved through the vents of his locker. Back OFF or else, glared up at him in block letters. His stomach tightened, but he stuffed it in his pocket before anyone noticed. During lunch, he discovered he wasn't alone. Got this in my gym bag. Tarek slid his phone across the table. A text from an unknown number. Know what happens to troublemakers? Zoe's Instagram account had been flooded with hateful comments. Amara, whose father taught at the community college, received an email threatening to let everyone know about her family's immigration status. They're trying to scare us, Marcus said, his voice low as they huddled near the bleachers. Someone knows what we're planning. Maybe we should tell someone, Zoe suggested, scrolling through her notifications with shaking hands. Tell who? Amara asked. The administration that's pretending nothing happened? A sophomore named Devin approached their group hesitantly. Hey, I heard about tomorrow. He glanced around nervously. Some seniors are saying they'll handle anyone who protests. Marcus stood up straighter. Spread the word. Anyone who feels unsafe shouldn't participate. This isn't worth getting hurt over. But you're still doing it? Devin asked. Marcus exchanged looks with his friends. Some things are scarier than threats, he replied. That night, none of them slept well. The morning of the protest arrived with unexpected fog shrouding the campus. Marcus arrived early, heart pounding as he unzipped his backpack filled with black armbands. The quad remained eerily empty until Zoe appeared through the mist, followed by Tarek and Amara. We might be the only ones, Zoe whispered, scanning the area. Her usual confidence had dimmed. Marcus checked his phone. No new messages in the group chat. Maybe the threats worked. As the first bell approached, students began trickling into the quad. Most hurried past, eyes averted. Then Marcus spotted Devin walking purposefully toward them, leading a group of at least 20 students from different cliques and grade levels. Sorry we're late, Devin said. We had to come in through the science wing. Security's at the main entrance checking backpacks. Principal Donovan's voice crackled over the PA system. All students must proceed directly to homeroom. The quad is closed for maintenance today. Convenient timing, Tarek muttered. Marcus handed out armbands as more students arrived. Soon, nearly 50 had gathered. He hadn't expected this many, especially after the threats. Ms. Rivera, the Spanish teacher, approached quickly. They've called the resource officer, she warned, her voice low. I'm not supposed to tell you this, but a commotion at the quad entrance interrupted her. Coach Wilson and Vice Principal Reeves were blocking students from entering, checking IDs and sending some away. That's illegal, Amara said, scrolling through her phone. They can't prevent peaceful assembly. Unexpectedly, Mr. Faraday, the physics teacher, stepped between the administrators and approaching students. As faculty supervisor of the Social Justice Club, I've approved this gathering. There is no Social Justice Club, Reeves snapped. There is as of yesterday, Faraday replied, holding up paperwork. Emergency approval by the district superintendent after I made a few calls. The protest gained strength as unexpected allies emerged. Several parents arrived, standing at the edge of the quad. 2 local reporters set up cameras. Even Tyler Graham and his friends stood watching, their expressions unreadable. Marcus unfolded his list of demands, his hand steadier than he'd expected. The silence that had protected the status quo was breaking, one voice at a time. The protesters' silent demonstration continued until lunch period, when 3 senior boys marched into the quad, Tyler Graham leading them with a scowl on his face. The crowd parted as they approached Marcus. "You think you're solving anything with this?" Tyler demanded, stopping inches from Marcus's face. "We're just making sure nothing gets swept under the rug," Marcus replied evenly. "Like who painted that graffiti?" Tyler's face flushed. "It wasn't supposed to go that far. Just a message to what?" Amara stepped forward. "Remind us we don't belong?" The crowd had gone completely silent. A phone recorded the exchange. "Nobody was supposed to get hurt," muttered Derek, one of Tyler's friends, looking at the ground. "But people did get hurt," Marcus said, his voice carrying across the quad. "Words hurt. Silence hurts." Principal Donovan pushed through the crowd, his face ashen as he realized what was happening. "You all need to come to my office. Now." The school board meeting 2 weeks later overflowed with students, parents, and community members. Marcus sat between his parents, his prepared statement folded neatly in his pocket. He wouldn't need it. The community's voices had become a chorus too loud to ignore. Superintendent Garrett addressed the crowded room. "After a thorough investigation, we've determined that the racist incidents at Westwood High require more than disciplinary action. They demand systemic change." The 3 seniors responsible had received suspension, mandatory community service at the local Civil Rights Museum, and were required to participate in restorative justice sessions with students they had harmed. But this was just the beginning. "Today we vote on the proposal developed by our student-led task force," Garrett continued, nodding toward Marcus, Amara, and the others. The proposal passed unanimously: comprehensive anti-racism training for all staff, a revised curriculum that honestly addressed historical injustices, a new cultural awareness program, and regular forums where students could speak openly about their experiences. As people filed out after the vote, Tyler approached Marcus hesitantly. "I've been thinking about what you said," he admitted. "About silence hurting people. I never thought about it that way before." "That's how change starts," Marcus replied. "By seeing things differently." 6 months later, the East Wing wall that once displayed hate speech showcased a student-designed mural. "Together We Rise," arched over images representing Westwood's diverse community. Mr. Faraday's Social Justice Club had become the school's fastest-growing organization. Devon had been elected its vice president, with Amara serving as president. The morning sun stretched across the new mural as Marcus arrived at school. Something had changed at Westwood High. Not everything. Not all at once. But enough to matter. Enough to continue.